Hello everyone, it's Carrie and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I have another tutorial for the Hedgehog Hollow blog, and I'm taking this older stamp set that comes, I believe, in the August box, and we're going to take this one image and create a wreath out of it. So I've gone ahead and cut down a piece of smooth white cardstock with a rectangle die, and now I'm taking this size circle die here and I'm just kind of creating a pencil mark or pencil line, and it's going to create a guide for me as I create my wreath. So I'm really taking a light hand. Now you can probably see it on camera, and once I do get the wreath stamped down, I probably forgot to erase it, but it's so light that you really don't notice it in the end. But you know, if I were to do this over again, I would definitely be reminded you know, if you do this as well, just be reminded to take your eraser and erase your pencil line before you start coloring in your image. So now I'm taking some Lawn Fawn ink here, and I'm going around this circle that I have created and stamping out this image and going to create my wreath. And this took no time at all. Now I will say that this is not a perfect wreath. You know, there are obviously, I wanted them some overlapping, but it's not perfect, and it's not necessarily meant to be perfect. It is a wreath, and I like how it turned out. You know, there are a little bit of imperfection in it as far as the stamping goes, but at first glance, especially to the, you know, your normal recipient, they probably won't notice anyway. So I am going to continue on to fill in my wreath here with my stamping. And then once I am complete with that, I'm going to take a couple of alcohol markers and color in my berries. Now, normally whenever I go ahead and color in my images, my alcohol marker of choice usually is Copic markers. But for today, I thought I would go ahead and change it up just a little bit and use my Arteza Everblend markers. I did review these markers a few months back, and if I can think about it, I will have that review video listed in the cards up above if you're interested in watching that. But I wanted to go ahead and use them today because I can get a little bit more use out of them since reviewing them. Now, I will say probably the one thing that stands out for me whenever I do use these markers is the fact that they differ in the nibs. The nibs on these are a little bit more of a billet nib and not a brush tip nib. And I really do like that because for a person like me that doesn't color all that often, I feel like I have a little bit more control in my coloring with this type of nib. And I don't feel like I get outside of the lines as much with this type of nib. So I really do enjoy these markers for that purpose. And of course, the colors are very vibrant and rich in color. So, you know, I think that they are a really great marker, especially for beginners. So I've gone around and all my berries here, I've added my darkest shade, and then I'm going to go with my lightest shade and just fill the rest of that berry in and kind of blend the two together. And it really does create a lot of dimension to these little berries. And I really do love how these two colors come together. So once I have finished all my coloring, I'm going to go ahead and add some accents to this card. So first up, I'm going to add some inking to my panel here. So I'm going to take some ink blending brushes and some distress inks, and I'm going to add a little bit of color to the background. Now I'm going to first up take the Tumbled glass distress ink as well as the blueprint sketch, and I'm going to use my new blending brushes today. I'm so anxious to get to use these on camera because they were a little bit of investment, but I think they are so worth it. They are excellent blending brushes. I love the fact that you can, you know, really have a brush for each color family. It really does make it easier to do ink blending. Especially for, you know, whenever I do use these brushes, it's for the purpose of having a really soft application to the background. So once I have all of that filled in the way I want it and the application of the Tumbled glass distress ink first, I'm going to go around the edges with my darker color, which is the blueprint sketch, and just to add that on the edges and darken up that edge just a little bit, and it really does add a lot of dimension to the background of this card. So once I am happy with all of my ink blending, I'm going to go ahead and take a smaller circle die, and I'm going to add that to the middle of my panel here. So like I said, I'm just going to continue on to ink blend here, and then I'm going to take my circle die and add it to the middle, and then die cut my circle in the middle there right off camera. So I'm almost come done here. I think I'm done. Now I'm going to take that circle die and die cut my circle right in the middle there. And this will help me add a little bit of an element so where I can add this panel here to another piece of colored cardstock. Now off camera, I did go ahead and heat emboss my sentiment, and I will show you that in just a moment. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my white card base. I've already cut it down, but I'm going to go ahead and score that at 5.5, which creates a 5.5 top fold A2 size card. And I really do love top fold cards. I really do just love that, overall look. And I feel like I do this, more now than I used to, more than ever. So really do love top fold cards. So now what I'm going to do is make sure that it all lines up there. And now I'm going to prepare the rest of this panel here. So like I said, I took a sentiment from the stamp set that comes in this current October box, and I'm going to use this sentiment that says joyful, but I'm not going to stamp the whole entire thing. I'm actually going to just stamp where it just says, or it says joyfully on the stamp, but I'm going to just ink it up to where it just says joyful, and then heat emboss that with some white embossing powder. So once I have done that, I'm going to take a white gel pen here, add some white accents to these little berries, and it just adds a little bit more depth and dimension to the overall look of this card. Now, I will say, you can't really tell on camera, but I really didn't like the way that this pen, the white gel pen, it kind of turned a little bit of a yellow tinge to the berries. I don't know if it's just because of the alcohol ink or what, but it didn't do that because I did this card twice, and it didn't do that with the Copics. So I'm not sure what is different with the Artezas, but it did turn up just a little bit yellow. But like I said, on camera, you really can't tell that. But it did do that. So if you're thinking about using a white gel pen with Arteza markers, just kind of keep that in mind. You can kind of tell just a little bit here. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead, as you saw already, I've added my panel, my red sentiment strip or panel here already with some liquid glue. Now I'm going to add my final accent, which is to take some of this goldenrod stickles, and I wanted to add a gold border all around this circle here, kind of creating a gold ring. So I'm just carefully adding hopefully, I was trying to keep it as equal as much as possible, but I'm adding as much of this gold glitter stickles around this ring and not just, make it too bulky in one area. I'm really taking my time and getting this on here, as even as possible. So once I have that, I have completed my card, and I thought about adding a little bit of more accents to the sentiment area, but I just left it alone and just left it as is, and I walked away. So that completes my card for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching my channel today. I truly appreciate it. All of the supplies are listed in the links below the video, like I mentioned before, and thank you all so much for watching my channel. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell, and I will catch you all in the next video tutorial very soon.